Hello and welcome to the India Hangout 2015 Delhi Election Tracker Special as we continue our journey and as we enter pretty much the last mile along with Yashwant Deshmukh out of Delhi and Ayaz Memon right here. Today the question we are asking is, as the numbers keep coming in, the new data keeps coming in, people keep changing their minds, is Kiran Bedi heading for a photo finish? That's the question we are asking. Yashwant, you're going to now showcase for us some pretty much breaking news data on from your latest poll. Tell us.
The poll which has been concluded today is showing almost the same line that the last week. The number much more bipolar BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party. BJP approximately 45%, Aam Aadmi Party approximately around 40%, and Congress approximately around 10%. But the seats wise, it's BJP seats are static on 37, but Aam Aadmi Party seats have gone up by 2 to 28 instead of 26, and Congress seems to have gone down from 7 to 5. Basically, it's a similar trend which have been getting for the last many weeks, that BJP is kind of hovering between 43 to 45% approximately, and Aam Aadmi Party between 39 to 41, which is where all the polls are swinging in. All majority of the polls, I would say, are swinging in. And in terms of seat share, it is again more or less on the same line that Cicero poll or Sea Voter is saying. It's almost the same line of 37, 38 seats for the BJP and about 28, 29 for the Aam Aadmi Party. And in terms of the Congress is ranging between different polls between 3 seats to 7 seats approximately. Our poll is giving around 5. So what is happening is that you can see that there is a direct correlation between the Congress votes going down and Aam Aadmi Party votes going up. And BJP is somewhat, their saturation performance in Delhi. I think it would be 45. This is where they are struck, and I don't think that they are going up than 45 as on today.
Right. Okay. And AAP seems to be rising constantly. So we'll come back to that in a moment. Ayaz, as you look back at the Kiran Bedi nomination, and we spoke about that a little earlier, how has it settled down, or has it settled down in the manner we thought it would?
$1 million question. I think they'll also be on the edge of their seats, Kiran Bedi and Arvind Kejriwal. I must just say that I was all of last week in Delhi and thereabouts, and you get a sense of the photo finish that we've been talking about, even in the kind of people you meet. So if you take a cab or you hire a car and you go, there is a certain mood expressed by those kind of people. And if you talk to people otherwise, from other strata of life, you find that there is a certain different kind of a mood.
Okay.
So it seems to me,
it
illustrates that. It seems to me that the divide is pretty much down the middle virtually, and very pronounced.
Okay. That's an interesting point. And what about Kiran Bedi herself? I mean, did you read Shobha De's column?
Yes, I did. So, but that's written in a Mumbai paper.
Yeah.
So, it's safer relatively, speaking, because now on social media everything is available everywhere.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how much of a dent it will make, but it might create
it may not make a dent, but it's an interesting point that she had a stronger standing when she was seen as upright and willing to stand up against authority and so on. Whereas here, she clearly seems to have slipped into a position where she's subservient and so on, which is perhaps necessary, but.
Yeah, but she was on a pedestal. Now she's wanting to become a politician.
Yeah.
So she's moved from one position to another.
Yeah.
Where, and in any case, the political class is seen as opportunistic in India. So why should it be different for Kiran Bedi?
So the moment you enter the fray, then you are like the rest of them. Okay, Yashwant, let's come back to the latest findings, and then we'll do a little comparison with the other 3 polls that we're looking at. One is the ABP Nielsen of 27 Jan, which is the latest, the Aaj Tak Cicero of 12th Jan, and the Z News Talim one of 19 Jan. So I think the 27th is interesting. But before that, what are the demographics telling you, Yashwant, in your numbers, the latest ones that you've got, which I'm assuming is 28?
The demographics, as we have been discussing, we have been discussing this a lot, and unfortunately, not much of the details are available on the demographic lines for the other polls, I would like to see if they can provide these details. But broadly speaking, even in the Chief Minister rating or in the voting intention question, the socio-economic differences remain the same. The low-income group, minorities going for Kejriwal and Aam Aadmi Party, the middle class and the Hindu majority, upper caste majority, and the middle class going for the Kiran Bedi and BJP factor. Having said that, there is an interesting phenomena which we must keep in mind, that before Kiran Bedi came into the picture, all the polls, they were clearly, evidently saying that Arvind Kejriwal's rating was in somewhere between 40 to 45 to 50%, and the party votes of Aam Aadmi Party was somewhere between 40 to 45%. Basically, whatever the Kejriwal was polling in rating, the same was automatically getting converted into Aam Aadmi Party vote share. But Kejriwal was Kejriwal was more popular than his party in that way, if you look at the numbers.
Right.
But in terms of the BJP's vote share intention was much more than their leadership rating, because Harshvardhan was somewhere ending around 20%. So there was a clear-cut gap of 20%. So Kejriwal, 40% of rating and 40% vote for the Aam Aadmi Party ballpark. That was going hand in hand. But BJP, 40% vote and leadership 20%. There was a big gap or disconnect as far as the BJP's leadership rating and BJP's voting intentions were concerned. But post-Bedi, I think both the parties and both the leadership ratings are going hand in hand. What I want to say is that Kejriwal's popularity and Aam Aadmi Party vote, there is no disconnect between the demography of the two, and Kiran Bedi's ratings and now votes for the BJP, they are also synced. There is no disconnect between the two. So it is getting very interesting, not only in terms of the party lines, but also in terms of the leadership rating lines, and both are going hand in hand.
Right, and let me quickly throw in a comment that's come in on Twitter. So Manish Singh says, if BJP forms the government, it will be a BJP win. And if they don't, it will be a Kiran Bedi loss. So I think that pretty much sums up the view from the ground. Ayaz?
No, I wanted to ask Yashwant whether Kiran Bedi in any way has arrested what could possibly have been seen as a kind of a late surge by Arvind Kejriwal. Has that been a factor, the choice of Kiran Bedi?
I think absolutely yes, Ayaz. You are bang on right. This we have been mentioning. In our September poll, if you remember, the BJP lead was 10% votes over Aam Aadmi Party. In spite and despite of the fact that BJP had leadership. But by the time December came in, within 3 months, that BJP lead in our December poll came down to just 1% votes. So BJP lost a lead of 9% over 3 months period time. And this was the big problem with the BJP. If they had gone ahead without any phase, and the trend of Aam Aadmi Party would have straightway gone up, and BJP kept on losing the ground, then probably right now we would have been discussing a scenario where Aam Aadmi Party might have been leading by 10 points in the reverse proportion over the BJP. So it's certainly the case that Kiran Bedi's induction has a kind of checked the loss or the trend of losing votes for the BJP. And as I shared in this episode as well, that Kiran Bedi's induction is not to get new voters to the BJP, but Kiran Bedi's induction is primarily to retain what the BJP core vote bank is concerned.
Right. So the ABP Nielsen survey, Yashwant, of 27 Jan actually says puts AAP at 50% of share and BJP at 41%. So in my mind, this seems to be the first poll which is actually showing a very clear majority for AAP. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, even I am surprised with these figures for two reasons. That number one, their others vote share is coming out to 0, which is impossible in any probability sample or even in the vote share, because others vote share have been all throughout these elections roughly around 10% votes. While in this election, we are estimating the others vote share to get down to about 5-6%, because the contest is going to be much more bipolar between BJP and Aam Party. First of all, that big 0 in the others category is a no-go. I mean, statistically as well as practically or from common sense perspective, this cannot happen. Number one. Number two, in AC Nielsen's poll, in the last 2 weeks, the Aam Aadmi vote share has dropped from 26% in their poll to 9% over here. So all along in the last so many months, they have been maintaining that Congress is polling 25-26% votes, and all of a sudden that has dropped to 9%, which is a kind of went unexplained. There was I don't know whether it's a weighing problem or it's a sampling problem, whatsoever it is. Though their vote share is now in sync or in line with whatsoever the other polls are saying, but their BJP votes are also in sync and in the line with what other polls are saying, but their Aam Aadmi Party vote share are roughly 10% more than what Cicero poll or C Voter poll or Z News poll are saying. So that particular section is a kind of an outlier because 50% vote share will, with this kind of lead, would actually, if this happens, then this would be leading about 65 to 66 seats out of 70 seats to Aam Aadmi Party. Right. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. No. Just one more thing, Yashwant. If you were to now look at the polls for the last 4 to 6 weeks, what are the one or two key secular trends we are seeing? I mean, it seems to me like that both BJP and AAP have actually increased their standing on the pitch. I mean, would you concur with that?
Exactly. This is what I'm trying to say, that the contest is getting bipolar, and right. It's both the parties are increasing their vote share, and practically speaking, both of them in our poll in the last so many weeks, I mean, they have been ranging between 40 to 40%, plus or minus 3%, give or take. So this is where they have been hovering around. The only big difference is that while the Aam Aadmi Party's votes and Arvind Kejriwal's ratings have gone hand in hand always, in case of the BJP, the leadership rating was big time lagging behind the party vote share, which is no more the case. Kiran Bedi's rating are going hand in hand, fully synced with the BJP vote share right now.
So, Yashwant, quick question: Would President Obama's visit to India and the kind of bonhomie he shared with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, will it have any impact at all? Do you think it will change some perceptions? Will it benefit the BJP in Delhi?
I doubt that it will have any positive impact as far as the BJP is concerned. Narendra Modi's leadership on the electorate has been, the honeymoon period is still on. His leadership ratings are intact. In fact, his leadership ratings are almost double to the party votes which the BJP is polling in Delhi. So certainly, if there is any positive impact, there is a feel-good factor. The feel-good factor is for Narendra Modi as a person, but that feel-good factor about Obama visit is unlikely to translate any vote for the BJP on the ground.
Okay, and that's, yeah, but that is a point that came up, right? I mean, as some of Prime Minister Modi's critics have been saying, I mean, this is really part of an ongoing, sustained campaign. I mean, including the way the whole visit was managed. Now, let's move on to the latest figures that you've brought out, Yashwant. So, in the numbers that you quoted, you've also said that AAP was up by 2 seats and Congress was down by 2 seats, which also plays to the point that you've been making all this while, that it's really one gives and the other takes, and vice versa. But is there something about this particular poll and this particular gain, even though it's a small gain, that we should be observing a little more closely, or we should be concerned about?
Well, this is the third week in a row that we have been discussing about the gender gap. And this is a very unique finding that we have been reporting. Unfortunately, I'm not looking at the data. I'm not getting the details of this data from the other polls, which would have kind of reassured and reconfirmed this the gender gap, if there is any. But this is the third week in a row that we are finding this gap, which is reassuring for us as far as our data is concerned. One big thing that would remain would be the turnout factor. Let's face the fact that even though the BJP traditionally has been contesting election by virtue of their strong RSS cadre and the BJP cadre on the ground, but in Delhi, as on today, we don't see that working in a cohesive way so far. So I see, as on today, Aam Aadmi Party cadre and Aam Aadmi Party network, or the groundswell or the ground meetings, are multiple times much better than the whatsoever the BJP campaign has been doing so far. So it's actually the other way around, that BJP, for a change, is trying to win this election based on the tertiary campaign rather than the ground campaign so far, which is kind of very surprising, because BJP is known to have or reap the benefit of the RSS cadre and their work on the ground. Something is telling me that it will have a direct impact on the turnout on the election day. If the BJP cannot get their act together, BJP cannot get the act in terms of their infighting together, then this whatsoever the lead in opinion polls the BJP is enjoying as on today might not really turn out in terms of votes on the polling booth. That is something which will come out only on the day of the exit poll, because this relative turnout is what will eventually form the output of the election results.
Right.
And I'm sorry to say, but as an independent analyst, this may not this might not be liked by many of the BJP sympathizers out there who are watching the show. But as on today, or for the last 3 months, Aam Aadmi Party and Arvind Kejriwal are running a brilliant ground mass contact program and campaign. And as far as their machinery is concerned, it's amazingly interesting to see how good they are organized, how good they are doing. And in spite and despite of having a very well connected RSS cadre, BJP, due to its infighting, is nowhere on the groundswell as on today.
Right, and that's interesting, and it's also for for AAP a return to its original strength of mobilization, particularly in the city of Delhi, and they of course sort of won the prize, but they decided to forsake it for whatever reason. So Ayaz, are you sort of comfortable now with the two chief ministerial probables? You have any?
Well, I'm fascinated by the contest, because I just heard Yashwant very carefully, and I think that the whole last 3 months, the way Arvind Kejriwal has gone about mobilizing support, despite the setbacks of Shazia Ilmi quitting and Bedi joining BJP, and now Kiran Bedi popping up as the CM candidate, despite all of that, he seems to have held his flock together. In fact, more than that, I think what Yashwant mentioned, that if his mobilization sees through to actualization, the same the numbers turn up and the BJP is a little lax, they might actually be surprised at the end.
Reversal at the end.
He might pip them to the post.
He might pip them to the post. So Yashwant, yeah, so it is a photo finish, but it looks like it's going to be a photo finish for Kejriwal as well. What's your sense?
Yes, it's gonna be a photo finish for sure. But as we enter in the last week of the campaign, we are expecting to see 3 or 4 rallies of Prime Minister Modi. What kind of impact will that have? That remains to be seen. We are likely to see a much more synced movement on the ground by the BJP leaders, if they can manage in the last 1 week. If not, there is going to be a disconnect. There is going to be a big disconnect as far as the BJP is concerned, because the sense of perception that, okay, Modi is going to come and swing the things in their favor. Well, I understand Modi is a great all-rounder. He bats well, he bowls well, perfectly right. But damn thing, he needs 10 fielders to at least take the catches. He cannot clean bowl 10 batsmen in a row. He cannot bowl 10 Yorkers in a row. So the thing is that I totally agree that if BJP wins this election, it will be victory of Modi. But if BJP loses this election, it will be nothing but a blame on the mess that the local BJP leaders have created among themselves.
Yeah, and perhaps it didn't expect the AAP to bounce back the way they did, and I guess that's a very fundamental rule of politics. I mean, don't ever take things for granted, and don't ever underestimate the opposition, and that's a lesson at a much larger level as well. Thank you very much, Yashwant and Ayaz. We're going to be back in 2 days' time, where we pick up some of this data, pick up some more data that's emerged, would have emerged by then, and find out where this exciting photo finish is heading. Ayaz, you have a last cricketing word for this?
No, I mean, look, there's always the possibility of a tie.
Yeah, that's
but I think Delhi deserves, a government which is defined by a simple majority, whichever way it falls, because we don't want to go through the whole rigmarole all over again.
Yeah, right, Ayaz. Thank you very much. Thank you, Yashwant. We're going to be back on Friday, 4 p.m. as we continue the Election Tracker 2015 Delhi elections. Thanks for watching.